what was your first job?
I was a counter help at Dunkin' Donuts. That was one of my first jobs.
That's so fun.
And at that time, we had a dress and a little apron that had a donut tree on it, and I still have it. And I just
Do you still have it?
still have it.
Oh my gosh, we need to see a picture of that. I would love to see a picture of that,
Okay.
actually. Hey y'all, Gabrielle here, and thank you for joining me for today's coffee break. I'm here at MarketScale headquarters with Dawn Fontaine, a fabulous digital media strategist on our team, and today we're going to be taking a break with her to learn a little bit more about her as an individual and just a little bit what she does on the team. So Dawn, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Gabrielle.
Well, I have I would say coffee, but it's not coffee today,
Oh,
actually. It's tea.
I'm tea.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Oh, we're tea buddies.
Yeah. I can't get it.
There you go.
There we go. Dunkin' Donuts. I'm in
nice.
Massachusetts, and their headquarters are in Massachusetts. So it's basically,
Of course.
you can walk to like 10 Dunkin' Donuts from any point in Massachusetts, which is over exaggerating it, but they're ubiquitous here.
Just look to the right, there's a Dunkin'.
Yeah,
look to the
right.
left, there's a Dunkin'. Straight ahead, behind. Well, that's pretty nice. I love Dunkin' Donuts. Are you more of a tea person?
I'm more of a tea person. I never drink coffee. I don't like coffee ice cream or any of that stuff, but I love tea.
Tea is really great. I love only Earl Grey tea when I'm reading and writing
Interesting.
and just chilling. But
Yeah.
coffee is for doing things.
Yeah,
So-
there's definitely more caffeine in coffee, and so I think somehow I wake up without all that caffeine. But I'm more of a black tea, boring, just like English breakfast or nothing fancy.
I love English breakfast.
So-
Not boring at all.
Yeah.
That is delicious, especially Earl Grey tea, my fave.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we kind of got a spoiler in what you get at a coffee shop then, because my first question for you is just like, let's let our audience know the picture that is Dawn. So like, let's start with your name, what you do at MarketScale. You said you're from Massachusetts, where you're from, and just like maybe what your favorite thing to grab at a coffee shop.
Hi, I'm Dawn Fontaine. I'm a digital media strategist at MarketScale. I'm from Massachusetts, lovely Massachusetts, which is like lovely fall right now. And I really do enjoy having all the seasons here. I kind of prefer the colder weather. So it's a good spot to be with all the four seasons. And I really love telling people about the area, suggesting places to visit. I've never been a professional tour guide, but I feel like I'm an unprofessional one, or one who likes to give different ideas to people about places to walk, places to bike, places to do drives, and just see the pretty scenery all over New England. It's a great place to be.
It is a good thing you did not choose Texas if you like cold weather.
No.
But I'm going to have to ask you about off screen what your kind of go-to tour guide, because I've never been to Massachusetts, I would love to, of course, Dunkin', naturally, but then after Dunkin', maybe a bike ride or anything, anything.
Yes,
that'd be super cool. Well, Dawn, you've actually had a super interesting career journey. It actually started in textile design. And then you moved through PR, and now you're working in digital marketing with MarketScale. So how do you think kind of each of these experiences prepared you for your role today, if at all? Is there just maybe a previous part of your interior design work that maybe carried over into your current role?
I think it did. So my degree is in interior design, and I never really was an interior designer, but I took that visual skill that I think is sort of natural. My mother's a seamstress, and we could always had that skill to take a piece of fabric, look at a pattern, and be able to see how that would work into the end result, or look at a room and see if you change the wall color, what it would look like. It just was sort of innate. And my mom has that too. But I did start out in textile design and textile merchandising and buying. And, of course, that has a whole visual aspect to it. And I think, along the way, I've also been a buyer. I've also been in PR, and in MarketScale, we're all about video and community generated content. And I think what I'm bringing to it now is that visual aspect. in either way, it's a lot of project management. It's a lot of keeping things on track, a lot of keeping the content going, whatever it might be. And I think, having that visual background helps me to think about what is the video going to look like? How can we make it look better, not just market better to whoever our clients are marketing to, but keeping that user in mind and just making sure that we have a really quality piece of content that's good in all aspects, from what we're saying to what it looks like.
Yeah, having that eye for design must be so like helpful and unique to you as an individual of being able to see a piece of video content and be able to translate that from your experience working with textiles. I think that's super
Yeah,
cool. Like that's not something you would think would
translate.
translate, but you're right. It's a visual world. Well, I mean, what would you say probably was like the biggest moving curve going from textiles or from more of a creative interior design field more into, let's say, an analytical side of digital marketing, or just like what you do now?
Right. I think so. In the middle of going from textile design to marketing and PR, it was in the middle was being a buyer, and in my case, it was for a furniture store where I bought the decorative accessories. So to me, that was sort of the transition that was used both sides of your brain. It was very visual, but it was also very analytical. How are the sales going? What are people looking at? What are people buying? How is that all coming together, and what do people like and what don't people like? The difficulty, it'd be hard to say what that was, because I felt pretty comfortable jumping in right away and using all sorts of different experience that I've had. And you don't always realize how those parts of your experience come together, and all of a sudden you're talking about pharmaceuticals, or you're talking about healthcare, or you're talking about the Internet of Things, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've done that before. And just realizing how they all come together, and you can tell a story. I think that's a lot of what it is with what we're doing at MarketScale and what I do in other work in PR. And you've got a little nugget of information, and you're trying to convey how someone can speak to their audience, how they can reach their user or the person who's going to buy their product, and just being able to explain what their pain points are and how they can address them.
So I'm actually glad you brought that up. You said the word nugget, and it made me think of this. But your unofficial title is kind of a marketing detective. So finding those hidden gems in B2B stories, being able to translate topics that might seem complex or technical for audiences everywhere that are consuming it, just making it B2B content seem relatable to audiences that might not otherwise understand what you're trying to communicate.
Right. So I think it's really getting to know the client in terms of the company, the B2B company that's trying to market to their client. So it's understanding and getting the wins, like it's getting excited, like, oh, we reached this customer that we wanted to reach. This person bought in, or this piece of content looks really good, or this article was published and we're really excited about it. It's, sort of getting that excitement going and understanding really well what's exciting to the client. So if we're talking about plumbing, maybe that's not exciting to most people. But if we say, oh, there's this amazing new AI added to it, and we're really excited what that can translate to. It's understanding really well what the client needs and how that comes together, and being able to translate that into a win, and just asking for that little bit of information and understanding the solution that's been applied to customer A, and being able to apply that to potential customer B, so that we're really getting them, what they need, explaining understanding the potential customer's problem, and then being able to apply the solution and being able to explain that in a really interesting way.
No, absolutely. And you are very multifaceted. So, I mean, PR, we've talked about PR, textiles, marketing, and you're actually working on a new skill set. So, skills like UX and UI design. You're starting to pick up those skills right now. So what kind of inspired you to pursue those areas specifically?
Yeah, so I sort of got the bug to do a little bit more training. Part of it was during the pandemic when things got really quiet. Just being able to, enhance my skill set. I've done some training in digital marketing. I've done some history classes at the local college. And then I've gotten a certificate in UX UI design. For people who don't know, that's user experience and user interface. So a lot of what we people do day to day is like you're looking at your phone, you're looking at your computer, you're looking at interfaces and understanding intuitively how they work. Well, if they're not intuitive, then they're not going to work really great. So it was just about trying to, you know, enhance what I understand with the user, maybe use that skill set a little bit with what we're doing with MarketScale and with other work that I do, and just make things being, various content, whether it be a website or a different kind of interface, easier to use, looking better, and just enhancing the user's experience.
It's super valuable to add to your skill set, I'm sure. Is there another area of knowledge? I mean, because it sounds like you love learning and you're always looking for something new to explore. Is there a new point of knowledge you'd like to explore in the future? Maybe something that's a bit outside of your comfort zone? I mean, was UX design something that was out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, it was definitely out of my comfort zone. It's a lot more technical than any other work that I've done. But it just felt very natural in a way, like talking what we talked earlier about just having that natural ability to see, visualize how something's going to look in the end result. I just felt that that sort of came out with doing UX, UI. So I think, using that other half of your brain that's more technical, that was the part that was very new, where the visual and the layout and that kind of thing was very much something that I've done in different roles. But putting it into a technical web design or app design, or understanding how that translates to search engine optimization and things like that, well, that was a little bit new, and it did task me a little bit. And it can get very complicated when you've got multiple pieces coming together, but it's about breaking it down and making it more understandable.
So with 4 dogs, and then you also have a flock of chickens, it pretty much sounds like you're living the dream of animal lovers everywhere. So could
Yes.
you share maybe a story or two about your miniature farm? I mean, how does
Yeah.
one get to 4 dogs and a flock of chickens? Pray tell.
I know the chickens are fun. Having backyard chickens, and I don't eat meat, but being able to eat their eggs is a good thing, and not, having that right in the backyard. You're like, I need eggs. I don't have to go to the store. I can just get them in the backyard, and they're very fun. And we've had a lot of dogs and a lot of foster dogs over the years, and we had this beagle who was a what we call a foster failure. So he came to us as a foster dog, but we fell in love with him and we kept him. His name was Charlie, and Charlie would he wouldn't run off, so he could be in the yard, and the chickens would run after him. They would like you think that the chickens should be afraid of him.
You're like, no, it's the other way
Yeah,
around.
they're like, we're gonna get you, Charlie. Like, so yeah, and there's always like an intermixing of personalities. And the latest dog that we have is she's really a lot of work. And having this last one, and she's figured out how to climb over the fence. So sometimes we'll see her peeking her head in the door, trying to get in the house. So that's fun.
Now, is this a very large dog or very small
She's
fence?
neither. She's about 50 pounds, and she knows how to climb rather than jump. So it's a special skill set.
Too smart, too smart. So, I mean, what inspired you to get chickens?
The inspiration to get chickens was just, years ago when I lived in Florida, there was someone there. He had an antique store and he had chickens in his backyard, and you'd go look at the antiques, and then you'd see the chickens in the backyard, and they're so beautiful. I'm not much of a photographer, but you take a picture of the chickens and they always come out good. They're just beautiful animals. You wouldn't think that they were so much, but I think that's what it was. It was like just so pretty seeing them walk around, and they're just very funny.
That's so cool. I need to definitely get pictures of the chickens, and I just find it funny because my dear friend, he owns chickens, and as you were speaking about the chickens, is how he speaks to me, and I'm like, they're kind of cute, I guess. I like the way they taste. I know you said you don't eat meat, but I like the.
I know. I like the way they taste too. I just can't stop.
Well, that's cool. You're vegetarian though. What got you into that?
So it was a love of animals. Just at a young age, I started, thinking a little bit more about it. And this was before a lot of the documentaries and so forth came up on plant-based living.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, there's a lot more accessibility now to plant-based things. Well, actually, this will be a good follow-up question for this. I always like to know what you're listening to. So new music or podcasts, could be TV shows, anything. Yeah. What's on Dawn's playlist right now?
This American Life is probably the original podcast, and I still love that one because it just talks about people's lives, and just as a theme every week. And you wouldn't think these things tie together. I guess that's what we talked about this whole podcast, right? Like how things tie together. How does design and PR and marketing and all this textiles tie together? So I think This American Life does that too. They like pull together all these different themes that are wildly different and make a theme to the podcast about it. And I really love listening to that one.
Absolutely. Well, I'll have to check it out. I always love to ask because I'm looking for recommendations all the time.
Yes.
So, fantastic. Well, it's the end of break time. So thanks so much for stopping to chit chat, Dawn. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, Gabby.
And to our audience listening in, please be sure to tune into MarketScale socials to learn more, as well as catch new episodes of Coffee Break, and to see many, many more breaks. This won't be the last break. I've been your host, Gabrielle. Thanks for tuning in.